Great to be with you today. Thank you for tuning in. I want to talk about something today, a little strange maybe for a preacher to be talking about conflict, but I think in our world we need to learn to handle conflict. In our homes we need to handle conflict. In our churches we need to handle conflict. You know, I heard that there was this couple that got a divorce over toothpaste. He was a roller and she was a squeezer. He got a pencil, put it in a toothpaste, and he rolled it. And she squeezed it, and they fought every night before they went to bed and cleaned their teeth. I don't care whether you roll it, squeeze it, just don't suck it. Just roll it or squeeze it. I don't care as long as there's some for me that I can put in my brush to clean my teeth, right? I mean, people will fight over dirty clothes. How many marriages, and I'm not going to get intimate here, I'm just going to talk about dirty clothes. That could mean anything. But you left your dirty clothes there. Sorry, let me pick them up. But how many people have fought? My husband, he thinks I'm a slave. He left his dirty shirt on the floor for me to pick up after him. And we fight. You remember the little poem? To live above, with saints we love, will certainly be glory. To live below, with saints we know, now that's another story. And honestly, we have to get along. This was in Lubbock, Texas. The phone rang, and there was a distraught secretary who was calling to tell her friend that the church was looking for another preacher. And she was so mad, this secretary. She said, it's all the elders' faults. They wouldn't let him do the job he was supposed to do. They kept holding him back and keeping him back. And then she blurted out, what the church here needs is a few good funerals. I have lived long enough to know that we don't need a few good funerals. The answer to the problem is not found in the cemetery. The answer to the problem is found in Scripture. Right? Matthew 18, we'll talk about that later on. But Jesus rebuked his disciples for their pride. Who is going to be the greatest? Who's going to be number one? Who's going to be the head honcho? And what did Jesus do? Well, let me figure it out here. I'll pick you. What did Jesus do? Jesus called for a little child. Hey, bring that little child over to me. And what did he say? You got to become like this little child. It's not about your greatness. It's not about how smart, how wonderful, how strong you are. I'm going to give you a little tidbit. Is that the word? Tidbit, yes. This is the most important concept to understand conflict resolutions. And you face it every day in your backyard or in the park. I'm gonna give you something today that will help you with conflict with your girlfriend, with your wife, with your husband, with your boss, with the world in general, right? To understand and deal with the problem, we have to be able to discern how children play in the backyard, right? At school or at home. Whenever children are playing in their backyard, there are swing issues. You know where I'm going here? And there are fire issues. Okay? Now watch me here. A parent must know the difference between swing issues and fire issues. The little girl goes out, your little sweetheart goes out to play in her swing. All of a sudden you hear this scream. Oh, mama, mama, mama. She's screaming. She fell off the swing. Look at her little knee. It's all skinned. You put a Band-Aid on it. You give it a kiss. You kiss her and you hold her. 10 minutes later, what does she say to you? Mama, Can I go back on my swing? Sure, honey. Because you know, swings don't kill usually. I mean, skint knees will get better again, right? It's a swing issue. But DJ is down the back, burning limbs, right? What is he doing? He's burning all these trees and limbs and leaves. What's he doing? And his big boy comes down and says, Dad, where's the gasoline can? What does DJ tell him? Get out of here. You're not. But Daddy, I just want to help you with the fire. I want to throw some of this stuff on here so that we can get it blazing up and get rid of all these limbs for Mum, right? All these leaves, limbs, all it. Absolutely not, because we know what fire can do, right? Fire can take a limb. Fire can burn your hand off, right? So there's no way. That's a fire issue. And there's no way. He may be crying, he may be saying no, and you know, I don't care what he says, he's not going to help with the fire. So you tell him, no way. Fires don't skin knees. Fires damage individuals permanently. So you put your foot down and DJ says, son, I'm sorry, I love you. Go play with your sister in the swing. You're not helping with this fire. It may sound a little bit cruel, but we've got to distinguish in the world, in the church and everything else between swing issues. Do you know what I'm convinced of? Okay, are you with me here? Listen to me now. Some things are just not worth fighting over. Right? We're going to have different viewpoints. We're going to have disagreements. We're going to have opinions. And there are some things worth fighting over. But there's some things not even worth toothbrushes or toothpaste. Now, I don't want nobody to use my toothbrush and clean the toilet with it and then we brush my teeth, right? That's a different story. But you squeeze, I roll. Who cares? And there's some people will fight over anything. And that's where communication, when I marry people, I tell them, communication. Talk to your husband. Don't just pout. He said, he left me. I'm going to bed mad at him and I'm not going to speak to him for a week. Communication is so important. And communication is a two-way street. You talk, but you also what? Listen and talk. Some people fight over things that don't amount to a hill of beans. They're not fire issues. I just wonder how many, I keep going on about these dirty clothes, how many wives fuss at their poor old husbands. He comes home from work and he throws his dirty boots or shoes or something. Yeah, so, hey, you think I'm a slave picking up your dirty clothes? Pick up your own dirty clothes. And I don't know about this seat up or down. Now, I don't like sitting in a toilet when the seat's up because you almost feel like you sit down, oh, what happened there? You almost sink, right? So I don't like that, right? But there's been wars over toilet seats. And I'm going to tell you again, they're not fire issues and they're not worth fighting over, but I don't like the seat up. Because if I sit down, I'm kind of, you know, right? Some things are not important. And when I started preaching 100 years ago, everything was a fire issue. Everything. I remember we talked about, you know, the service, 3 songs and a prayer. Somebody suggested 3 songs or 4 songs and 2 prayers. I treated that the same way as the deity of Christ. A person not denying the deity of Christ. I don't care if you have 5 songs and a prayer today. As long as I have time to preach. Don't take my time. But this idea, I'm going to win at any cost, that's not our objection. That's not our objection. Our business is to try and reach the lost. And however we do it, that's what's important. I was involved in so many, you know the worst thing? Back in Ireland, we didn't have elders, so we had business meetings every week. And I remember this brother coming up to me in a business meeting. I was sitting in the business meeting, getting ready to start. And this brother said, we need a church sign outside of our building to let people know that we're here. I said, that's a great idea. We had about 80 members in the congregation at Belfast. And the church was growing, but there was no sign out there to say, Eastside Church of Christ. And this young man brought it up in a business meeting. He says, I want to make a proposal. We need to get ourselves, we got to paint the church sign, times of service, okay? Don't need the preacher's name on it. Times of service. We'll be here on Wednesday night. We'll be here Sunday morning, Sunday night. One brother shouts up, I object. And I looked around and said, pardon? He said, I vehemently object. No way, no way. We had a business meeting for the next 10 weeks, and every time we came, somebody brought up the sign, he jumped up out of the chair. I object. No way, no way. Do you know what he told me months later? He said, I don't really object. It was just because I don't like him who brought it up. He said if somebody else had brought it up, we'd have had a sign by now. In the name of Christ, in the name of Christ, I'm not against the sign, he said. It's not a problem with me at all. He says, Brother Joe, he's the one who brought it up. So he held out for months. How many issues? The colour of paint on the wall. You're going to paint your classroom tomorrow. And you come to me, Brother Jack, I'm going to paint my classroom blue. Oh, no blue. Do you know what? I don't care. Can I say something? Am I crazy for saying this? I don't care what colour you paint it. Honestly, I don't really. If it brightens up the children's lives, if it brightens up the classrooms, why would I object? Blue, red, green, well, not green because I'm from Ireland and everything's green. Green's okay, but red or blue, no. Jesus talked about weightier matters, didn't he? Didn't Jesus talk about the weightier church splits, division, everything? Our salvation is not based on our own righteousness. The Bible says our righteousness is as filthy rags. It's based on His righteousness, His mercy, His grace, His goodness. And His grace has flown down from Calvary into our hearts. And He loves us. And we need to get a hold of ourselves. And we need to stop fighting. Listen to me, please. Stop fighting for the sake of fighting. I think we go to extremes at times. We reject legalism. But others in doing that have trusted in their own righteousness. It's been rooted in their own merit. And they've swung too far one side. The other extreme is everything is a swing issue. Acceptance at all costs. That's not what I'm saying. There are some things worth standing up and fighting for. And there are some things that are not even worth mentioning. In the book of Jude, verse 16, there were grumblers who were always finding fault, following their own lusts, and they speak arrogantly, flattering people for the sake of gaining advantage. The real false teachers were constantly picking and finding fault. And they were doing it under the disguise of contending for the faith. We're standing up for the truth. We're contending for the faith. No. Always grumbling. We've met him before. Nothing is ever right. The paint, the sign, the doors, the carpet. I don't like the carpet. It's the wrong color. I don't like always moaning, always groaning, always complaining, finding fault with every little thing. And here's what happens: we miss the point. Maybe we need to debug the church like I need to debug my computer, right? Getting the bugs out to correct the error. The Bible is so clear. We don't need more church politics. We don't need going behind one another's backs in a deceptive way. It's a matter of priority. It's a matter of what is worth standing. Listen, there are some things worth standing up for. Stand up for them. And there are some things not even worth mentioning. I don't like to see her getting her knee scraped, okay, when she falls off the swing, because she's got a big band-aid on. My little granddaughter, it hurts her and she's crying. But you know what? She's gonna live. She's gonna live. Nah, I've been to Romania and saw in the little children's hospital and saw the kids who had lost their limbs because of fire issues. They get cold in winter time and they got some kind of solvent and they threw it on the fire and it exploded. It took off their arm. I've been to the burn hospital and heard those little kids screaming with pain. Fire. Listen, learn to distinguish in your marriage, in our world, everything. We don't need to be at war over everything in our world. In our marriages, with your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your whatever, everything's not a, listen, learn that, hey, it's okay. It's okay. There are some things more important. Right? God bless you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week. And just stay strong, okay? God bless you.